You can stop doing all the things that have you act as if you are someone instead of be that person now. Okay, there is so much out there that is teaching all of these exercises that we have to do just to get into this particular state or act as if and imagine, we've got this end result that we want. Well, whether it's the money, the success, the status, the fame, the happiness, whatever it is. And all of that energy that goes into doing all these different exercises can literally exhaust most of us. And it can divert our attention from moving in the direction of our dreams to thinking we have to first fix ourselves. We have to change something. There's something wrong about us. We're not the right identity, right? We can go down that road and actually kind of mess up our thoughts and feelings and stress ourselves out. And so in this video, I want to let you know that if there is a calling you have, an intention you have, a vision that you've already, for whatever reason, received or seen yourself as, that means you have the capacity already to begin acting in that direction. Because whatever we choose, whoever we are, there is a set of kind of actions and behaviors that go along with it. And we can literally choose those and commit to those, and we will find that our thoughts begin to change, and our even our feeling state can change. It doesn't have to change all the way though, right? There's, I understand the idea of high vibration, and I will refer to vibration sometimes in my videos and in the work I do. But I do it in a very particular context. It's not about having to be happy every day, because that, again, is creating a level of stress that's most likely going to stop you and slow you down beyond what is absolutely necessary. Okay? And so let's see, what is the difference? What does it mean acting as if, and what does it mean when I say you already are? So acting as if would be doing a lot of exercises on a daily basis, trying to say, I have to reprogram myself, I have to think differently, I have to have a whole different mindset. Again, it's like making yourself wrong. And the truth is, that is going to create a sense of kind of a drop in confidence usually, because suddenly you're going to see all these negative reasons why something looks like it can't work for you, when in fact it can. But you've just started focusing on something that is sending your attention and energy to an unwanted experience. Okay, so the alternative, when I say you already are, is a fact. It's actually it's not like lying, which we can sometimes think we are doing, right? So if I said I wanted to have $1 million business, and I don't have $1 million business, and I may not feel like anywhere close to that, so you might say, well, wouldn't it be a lie to say that I have? Well, we're not going to say that I have that, because that wouldn't be true. What I can say is I am developing $1 million business. I'm here with $1 million vision. I have a $1 million business vision. I have a vision that works with these kind of people, and I have these people coming to me. And as I say that, then naturally I'm going to start thinking of the pathways that are connected to $1 million business vision, right? I'm not going to be sitting there trying to say, oh, well, how am I going to make, the next $10,000? Because my vision is a grander vision. I'm looking at I just got distracted because it looks like there's this rainbow of a light coming right through. Anyways, I can see it on my screen, and perhaps you can see too. Well, I don't know, let's just say that's positive energy being passed my way and to you. So I can have that. That vision is inside me, so I am already it, right? We're already connected. Now there's going to be steps, there's going to be actions, there's going to be choices that I'm going to make along the way that lead to that more easily, and that's awesome. But I am already being that by knowing where I'm going, right? So it's just like when we have a destination, right? Like if I said I wanted to travel to Thailand, right? That's the destination. I know that in my suitcase, I'm going to pack clothes that are going to suit Thailand, right? If there's anything else I have to prepare, I'm going to do it because, like, say, it's a longer trip than for me, choosing to go down to California, right? So that, like, I'm going to be looking at different factors, right? It's just natural, right? So we naturally start adjusting things so that we suit that destination, right? If I wanted to learn some of the language, I would start practicing, before I got there. If I didn't know have anyone there, maybe I'll go online and start making some friends online first because that was important to me, or maybe find some networking groups that I think I would enjoy. Who knows, right? So we begin operating according to that destination. Same as a $1 million business. And for you, it could be a vast change in career. It could be a new lifestyle that you want to live. It could be a new location and home and everything, right? But you're going to start acting and looking at things that match that instead of doing the things that don't match that, right? Another perfect example is when a person goes from being an employee to being the business owner. Completely different characters in some ways, right? You have to act very differently. And so you're going to start by having to reprogram your mind and all of that and act as if and sit down and wake up and imagine yourself. Like, again, I just feel it's a lot of wasted energy. And when I look at my top successes, I did not do that for maybe beyond like maybe a day or a couple of days usually, right? If I really had to ramp up and I was making more of a leap, I think I can only honestly remember like one example where I actually spent maybe 4 days, okay, doing some of that shifting, right? But I was already doing the thing. I just wanted to ramp it up to a different level. So I just, I was building the momentum. Just like if you're going to run a marathon suddenly, you start practicing a little more, right? But it was a natural a result of the choice I was making versus having to reprogram. Now, I have listened to plenty of things or read things that talk about this stuff, and it sounds like really logical. It sounds scientific, and I'm kind of teasing here, but what happens is sometimes we get caught in that, and we get caught in the mind and in thinking and like this is really, really, smart stuff, and I better really understand it, and I better do, we spend all that energy on that instead of being the thing that it is that we're intending, in which case our bodies will naturally go towards it. We will act towards it, right? So I will tell you now, I often just bring this example because I know most people who listen to videos are like this, are at a place where they're here and they want to be here, right? There's some shift they're making. And so when I talk about having started my business, even though it was many years ago, and as I sometimes let you know that I have also applied it when I've changed my business or added new services, I've done the same thing, is the steps were straightforward in a way, okay? And there was a lot of internal stuff I had to shift sometimes in order to yeah, I'm now really ready. But I didn't do it through those programming things. I did it by saying, this is my choice now. This is who I am now. Okay, so that example of, going from being an employee in my 20s to starting a business, I think was at the end of my 20s or maybe when I was 30, something like that. What happened? I literally first quit the job, and I'm not saying everyone should do it this way, but for me, that was right. I was done. I was complete. I was done. I felt like staying there would just, not serve me, not serve the vision I had of the business, even though I had initially thought, I'll stay for at least a few years in this particular job before, and develop and do all the background preparation so that when I quit, I can, I'll have all of this work done behind me already. But, this is where the mind gets in the way. The mind says, I have to do all this, get everything in kind of all my ducks in a row, get everything organized. But I had just come to a place where it's just no, it's time for this change. So I quit, right? action number one, pretty big action. Action number two, sat down, started writing down what is it that I'm going to offer. Now, I already knew a couple of things. I was called to that already, and that I wanted a service business. The thought of being a consultant had already come through me. So, like, I had an idea of who I was working with. I knew my skill set, the kind of consulting I was going to do, and the people who would possibly hire me. Even though I didn't go a lot into research, it was just general ideas of that. So that's the second part. Write down a bit of what I want to do and what's important to me. I also personally, now not everybody does this, but for me and the way that I tend to work with people is also look at the greater context. I wanted a certain lifestyle. I didn't want to just start a business. Because I say just start. Obviously, starting a business can be a pretty huge endeavor. But my goal at the time I started, it was actually that I wanted to have a lot of personal time, because I knew that I was going through a growth period. I really wanted to develop my creativity and do all these other things to really enjoy the process and know that I could evolve my business to the level that I wanted. So I wanted my business to be about kind of half time, but still make similar money to what I would be doing if I was working full time. So I had that intention. And then the third thing, and I took almost about 2 months to get to this point, but I got to it after realizing that all the little planning I was trying to do was just stressing me out. I was trying to do those things that people say, like you got to prepare, you got to think this way, you got to act, I was spending a lot of energy. And finally, I got to the thing that one has to do when you have a business, and that is sell, offer, sell. Offer, sell. The sooner you do that in starting your new business, the sooner you're in business, right? You can spend a whole year creating your darn business plan. But if you're not taking action in terms of offering it and selling it, who knows what'll happen after that year? I have seen too many people who have the grandest of plans, who've done the most research, who are just, seem like they're so organized and everything, just quit when it came to that particular action. Because in some ways that can be the scariest action. And the sooner you take it, you're over that piece and you can keep going. And it gives you a confidence that nothing else will give you, right? So after those 2 months, when I went, hey, what am I doing? I am all in my head. I am not actually out there, right? And hardly anyone knows I exist yet. And so picked up the phone, right? That's what I did at the time, is I picked up the phone to announce that I have my business and that I'm available to be hired. And I called a particular person that I thought may be interested, and I landed a consulting contract. My first one, which lasted a few years. It allowed me exactly the kind of lifestyle that I wanted. I was able to do it mostly part-time. Occasionally some projects would take a little more intense work, but then I would have gaps so I could do the, develop my business, develop the other things that I actually wanted. So, as you can see, as soon as I went into being the business owner, I knew what to do. It came to me, I have to offer and sell something, right? I didn't know that it was going, I was going to land this significant contract. It could have been a workshop I sold. I didn't know at the time, but it wouldn't have mattered. The point was that I went ahead and I sold it, okay? Same as when so one of my additional services with my private coaching clients can be styling, looking at their wardrobe, looking at how they express themselves. Because often when we're going to new levels or new identities, we want to show up in that way, right? It feels good. And that's one of my a personal favorite topic, and something that I have been good at and been asked about prior to ever offering that service. And again, like it could have been like, oh, I should go back to school and now study this for who knows how long and do this before I can actually, but I just went out and I started telling people this is what I'm offering. And, I helped a couple of friends out first just to get those testimonials. But honestly, even that, I don't think I really needed at the time. So when we are confident about something, we know we can actually deliver it. We're ready to deliver it. And there's no better learning ground than having sold something and working through the offering of it, right? So when I sold my first styling package, same thing. Like it happened fairly quickly, relatively speaking, right? And I did it, and I started understanding, what people were needing, what parts I was liking, right? Because at that time, I was seriously thinking maybe I want to make this a full-time business. But after doing a bunch, I realized, what? I'm not interested in that. I love it still, but I'd actually love to offer it for people who actually want deeper transformation, not just the external. And so I thought, what a beautiful fit with my private coaching clients, right? Those who want it, I can add that as an extra piece, as a bonus, as an additional service. And I don't know, at least a third of my clients probably took me upon it. And we're really excited. Like it just added a whole different energy, right? So these are examples of just stepping right in and then going and taking those actions that need to be taken, and stopping thinking that you have to spend weeks or months changing yourself. Because believe me, when you land the opportunity, when you land the experience, you will know exactly what to do. Let's say you want that dream house or that dream vacation. I bet you that you already have things planned out in your mind about what that feels like, what that looks like. And if I said, what, here's a check and I'm going to give that to you right now, you would know exactly what to do. You would be out there. You wouldn't be sitting back and going, okay, let me change my mind so I can become a bigger homeowner or something, There is some things that we can do along the way to ensure that we have grown into that space, right? So as I was telling you that experience, and I know I was laughing at it, but it's kind of like what they say about lottery winners and how 70% of them end up being broke after winning the lottery. They just don't know how to manage it. They haven't changed their identity. So there are pieces, but when you start operating really in that idea, so if that person who wins the lottery begins operating like, wow, I am this person now, there's going to be natural inner work that is going to be done when they are serious about sustaining it, not just the initial enthusiasm of receiving it. So if I gave you that big check and gave you that wonderful mansion that you wanted, yes, there will be a growing into it. But what I'm saying is that most of you will already have initial thoughts. And maybe things like, oh, this is how I would decorate it. Oh, these are the dinner parties I'd be having. Oh, this is how, all the rooms my family could have. And these are the ones we would share. You'll have certain ideas about it. And then, of course, as a person, you can build yourself. You can grow into it and really ensure that is something that sustains over time if it is still what you want. So we are what it is that we desire. We already are. That's why the desire is there. It's inside us. It's not outside. But acting towards it is what's going to build the identity. It's what's going to rewire the brain. It's what's going to recondition your system, right? And when you're in motion and you're already in this identity, you're going to be making very new decisions than if you weren't, right? So back to that $1 million business example. that right now it would be like, okay, let me look at the whole picture and how I'm spending my time, and where are the people that are most kind of connected to that kind of quality of business that I want to have. What are the avenues that are going to lead me to that? And I'm going to think of probably bigger examples and bigger ideas than if I was just looking at a $50,000 a year business, right? So this is a process, but it is a process that you begin the moment you actually say yes to the new identity and take actions towards it. You affirm it. You say yes, you commit inside, right? And that commitment can be a verbal commitment. You can write it down, but the real commitment is when you are in action, right? So if I'm stepping up, once I finish talking to you, I am out there and I'm taking my next step towards this $1 million business. I have a $1 million business mindset already, identity already. But if I go and say, okay, now let me do some exercises to put on this identity, then I'm creating a buffer. I'm creating this space that, like, oh, now I have to travel towards it. And in other words, I'm not it yet. So I hope this has had you kind of think in a new way, and most importantly, has encouraged you to say that those actions you're going to take can be within the identity of the result that you are intending. Now, my videos are off the cuff. Sometimes maybe my examples aren't the best, so, I hope you don't mind that. But, it's like I'm trying to think of like metaphors and examples that, a lot of you would connect to, right? So there's a variety of them, a few different things. And what I'd like for you to do is in the comments write down, like, what is the point that you really got out of this video? Because again, the more feedback like that I get, the easier it is for me to create more videos that are going to speak to more directly to the kinds of desires, the goals that you have, the visions that are coming, the calling that is coming from you, right? So just as I've said to you today, I am going to complete this and then go on with my next task within my higher vision that has been calling me. So thanks so much for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Please like and do all the things to, if you'd like to hear more or just to appreciate this time. And I look forward to hearing the kinds of stories that you're going to have about the actions you took and how the identity was within you and how you were able to then start operating on it. Even if that means, yeah, sure, I've got to ask some questions, I've got to learn a few things, but that you go a little more direct instead of spending a lot of time doing activities that are never going to actually lead you into the identity of who you actually already are.